Sancho Garcés III, also known as Sancho III of Pamplona and nicknamed the Great, was King of Pamplona and Count of Aragon from 1004 until his death in 1035. He also ruled by marriage the counties of Castile, Álava and Monzón, which later expanded with the acquisition of the County of Cea in 1030 and the counties of Sobrarbe and Ribagoza. He would later intervene in the Kingdom of León, taking the capital city. He was the eldest son of García Sánchez II and his wife Jimena Fernández. Biography. Early life. Sancho was born around 992 to García Sánchez II to the tremulous and Jimena Fernández, daughter of Fernando Bermúdez, Count of Cea on the Galician frontier. He was raised in Lara. His father last appears in 1000, while Sancho is first found as king in 1004, inheriting the Kingdom of Pamplona. This gap has led to speculation as to whether there was an interregnum. While one document shows Sancho Ramirez of Vigera reigning in Pamplona in 1002, perhaps ruling as had Jimena Garcés during the youth of García Sánchez I 3 generations earlier. On his succession, Sancho initially ruled under a council of regency led by the bishops, his mother Jimena and grandmother Araca Fernández. Sancho aspired to unify the Christian principalities in the face of the fragmentation of Muslim Spain into the Taifa kingdoms following the Battle of Calatinazor. In about 1010 he married Muniadona of Castile, daughter of Sancho García of Castile, and in 1015 he began a policy of expansion. He displaced Muslim control in the depopulated former county of Sobrarbe. In Ribagoza another opportunity arose. The 1010 partition of the county left it divided between William Izan, illegitimate son of Count Izan, and Raymond III of Palajussa and his wife, Mary García of Castile, who was both niece of Izan and aunt of Sancho's wife. In 1018, William Izan tried to solidify his control over the Aragon Valley, but was killed, and Sancho jumped on the opportunity to take his portion, presumably based on some loose claim derived from his wife. Raymond and Mary annulled the marriage, creating a further division finally resolved in 1025 when Mary retired to a Castilian convent and Sancho received the submission of Raymond as the vassal. He also forced Berengar Raymond I of Barcelona to become his vassal, though he was already a vassal of the French king. Berengar met Sancho in Zaragoza and in Navarre many times to confer on a mutual policy against the Counts of Toulouse. Acquisition of Castile in 1016, Sancho fixed the border between Navarre and Castile, part of the good relationship he established by marrying Muniadona, daughter of Sancho García of Castile. In 1017, he became the protector of Castile for the young García Sánchez. However, relations between the three Christian entities of León, Castile, and Navarre soured after the assassination of Count Garcia in 1027. He had been betrothed to Sancha, daughter of Alfonso V, who was set thus to gain from Castile lands between the rivers Cea and Pisuerga. As Garcia arrived in León for his wedding, he was killed by the sons of a noble he had expelled from his lands. Sancho III had opposed the wedding and the expected expansion of León's power to Castile, and used Garcia's death to reverse this. Using the pretext of the protectorship he had exercised over Castile, he immediately occupied the county and named as successor his own younger son Ferdinand, who was nephew of the deceased count, bringing it fully within his sphere of influence. Gascon suzerainty. Sancho established relations with the Duchy of Gascony, probably of a suzerain vassal nature, him being the suzerain. In consequence of his relationship with the monastery of Cluny, he improved the road from Gascony to Leon. This road would begin to bring increased traffic down to Iberia as pilgrims flocked to Santiago de Compostela. Because of this, Sancho ranks as one of the first great patrons of the St. James Way. Sancho VI of Gascony was a relative of King Sancho and spent a portion of his life at the royal court in Pamplona. He also partook alongside Sancho the Great in the Reconquista. In 1010, the two Sanchos appeared together with Robert II of France and William V of Aquitaine, neither of whom was the Gascon duke's suzerain, at St. Jean d'Angely. After Sancho VI's death in 1032, Sancho the Great extended his authority definitively into Gascony, where he began to mention his authority as extending as far as the Garonne in the documents issued by his chancery. In southern Gascony, Sancho created a series of viscounties, Labid, Bayonne, and Bastogne. Acquisition of Leon. After the succession of Bermudo III to Leon, Sancho negotiated the marriage of his son Ferdinand to Sancha, the former fiancé of García Sánchez and Bermudo's sister, and along with a dowry that included disputed Leonese lands. Sancho was soon engaged in a full-scale war with Leon, and combined Castilian and Navarrese armies quickly overran much of Bermudo's kingdom, occupying Astorga. By March 1033, he was king from Zamora to the borders of Barcelona. In 1034, even the city of Leon, the imperial culmen, fell, and the Sancho had himself crowned again. This was the height of Sancho's rule, which now extended from the borders of Galicia in the west to the county of Barcelona in the east. In 1035, he refounded the diocese of Palencia, which had been laid waste by the Moors. He gave the see in its several abbacies to Bernard, of French and Navarrese origin, to whom he also gave the secular lordship, which included many castles in the region. However, he was assassinated at Aguilar de Bureba on the 18th of October 1035 and was buried in the monastery of San Salvador of Honor, an enclave in Burgos, under the inscription Sancius Gratia Dei Hispaniarum Rex, legacy. Taking residence in Navarra instead of the traditional capital of Pamplona, as his realm grew larger, he considered himself a European monarch, establishing relations on the other side of the Pyrenees. He introduced French feudal theories and ecclesiastic and intellectual currents into Iberia. Through his close ties with the Count of Barcelona and the Duke of Gascony and his friendship with the monastic reformer Abbot Oliva, Sancho established relations with several of the leading figures north of the Pyrenees, most notably Robert II of France, William V of Aquitaine, William II and Alduin II of Angoulême, and Odo II of Blois and Champagne. It was through this circle that the Cluniac reforms first probably influenced his thinking. In 1024, a Navarrese monk, Paterno of San Juan de la Peña from Cluny, returned to Navarre and was made abbot of San Juan de la Peña, where he instituted the Cluniac custom and founded thus the first Cluniac house in Iberia west of Catalonia, under the patronage of Sancho. The Mozarabic rite continued to be practiced at San Juan, and the view that Sancho spread the Cluniac usage to other houses in his kingdom has been discredited by Justo Pérez de Urbal. Sancho sowed the seeds of the Cluniac reform and of the adoption of the Roman rite, but he did not widely enact them. Sancho also began the Navarrese series of currency by minting what the Encyclopaedia Britannica calls deniers of Carolingian influence, the division of his realm upon his death, the concepts of vassalage and suzerainty, and the use of the phrase "by the grace of God" after his title were imported from France, with which he tried to maintain relations. For this he has been called the first Europeanizer of Iberia. His most obvious legacy, however, was the temporary union of all Christian Iberia. At least nominally, he ruled over León, the ancient capital of the kingdom won from the Moors in the 8th century, and Barcelona, the greatest of the Catalan cities, though he divided the realm at his death, thus creating the enduring legacy of Castilian and Aragonese kingdoms. He left all his lands in the hands of one dynasty, the Jimenas, which kept the kingdoms allied by blood until the 12th century. He made the Navarrese pocket kingdom strong, politically stable, and independent, preserving it for the remainder of the Middle Ages. It is for this that his seal has been appropriated by Basque nationalism, though, by dividing the realm, he isolated the kingdom and inhibited its ability to gain land at the expense of the Muslims. Summed up, his reign defined the political geography of Iberia until its union under the Catholic monarchs. Titulature. Throughout his long reign, Sancho used a myriad of titles. After his coronation in León, he styled himself Rex Dei Gratia Hispaniarum, or by the grace of God, King of the Spains, and may have minted coins with the legend Naira Imperator. The use of the first title implied his kingship over all the independently founded Iberian kingdoms, and the use of the form Dei Gratia, adopted from French practice, stressed that his right to rule was of divine origin and sustenance. The latter, imperial title was only rarely employed, for it is not documented, being found only on coins only probably datable to his reign. It is not unlikely, however, that he desired to usurp the imperial title which the kings of León had hitherto carried. Despite this, the contemporary ecclesiastic Abbot Oliva only ever acknowledged Sancho as Rex Ibericus Rex Navarrae Hispaniarum, while he called both Alfonso V and Bermudo III emperor. The first title considers Sancho as king of all Iberia, as does the second, though it stresses his kingship over Navarre alone as if it had been extended to authority over the whole Christian portion of the peninsula. Succession. Before his death in 1035, Sancho divided his possessions among his sons. Of the three surviving sons by Muñadona, the eldest, Garcia, had already appeared as Regulus in Navarre, inheriting the kingdom including the Basque country as well as exercising suzerainty over the kingdom's lands given his brothers. Gonzalo had been placed in control of the counties of Sobrarbe and Ribagoza, which he would hold as Regulus. Ferdinand had been given Castile on the death of Count García Sánchez in 1027, holding it first under his father and later of Bermudo III of León, before killing that king to take León and the royal title. Ramiro, the eldest but illegitimate son of Sancho by Mistress Sancho of Ibar, was given property in the former county of Aragon with the provision that he should ask for no more lands of Garcia, under whom he first acted as Bayulus but from whom he later achieved de facto independence. Documents report two further sons of second Ramiro and Bernard, but scholarship is divided on whether they were legitimate sons who died in youth, or if their appearance instead results from either scribal error or forgery. Sancho left two daughters, Mare and Jimena, the former perhaps the wife of Pons, Count of Toulouse, the latter wife of Bermudo III. Marriage and family. Sancho III was married to Muñadona of Castile, daughter of Sancho García of Castile, Count of Castile and Álava. They had the following children: García Sánchez III, nicknamed the One from Navarra, King of Pamplona from 1035 until his death in 1054 and married to Stephanie of Foix. Fernando Sánchez, King of León from 1037 until 1065 and Emperor of all Spain from 1056 until 1065, nicknamed the Great, married to Sancho of León. Jimena Sánchez, Queen Consort of León by her marriage to Bermudo III of León. Gonzalo Sanchez, Count of Sobrarbe and Ribagoza. Before marrying Muñadona of Castile, Sancho III had a son with Sancho Ramiro Sanchez, King of Aragon from 1035 until 1063. Ancestry.